What's up everybody, it's Mike with this old hot rod. You guys remember at the end of the last video I took you for a quick walk around on the sedan and kind of showed you what I needed to still do. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to get to work on that steering. I needed to drill 3 holes, get that steering box bolted to the chassis. Once that's done, I will get the top of that, kind of those areas where I folded it up, I'll get those cleaned up, get that kind of trimmed down and all prettied up. I'll get that capped off with some plate. And then what I'll do is I'll redo the steering column drop. I'll get that all set and ready to go. So then what we'll do after that, get everything unbolted, pull the wheel off, pull the steering wheel back off, and I'll pull the steering column back out of the car. Once that's done, I'll be able to lift that body back off. I ordered some wheel spacers, so you can see here. So 5 on 5.5. They make these for Jeeps and Dodge pickups. I'm not sure the years, but that's the bolt pattern for earlier Jeep and Dodge pickups. But you can use those on an old hot rod. I try to find, whenever I can find those at swap meets, especially the older ones that are steel, because sometimes you can get them where they're 1/2 inch if they're steel plate, but a lot of times you can get them 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I didn't really need that. I want to get the rear wheels and tires just out a little bit off the body. I didn't want the body to rub, or the tires to rub the body. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to get this trimmed down and cut down, figure out what I need for a piece of steel. I'm going to get that piece of steel on there real quick. I will get these holes drilled and get some hardware and get that bolted on. As soon as that's bolted on, I'll do the column drop. And then afterwards I'll get some of this crud cleaned off of here. I wish I had the right O-ring for this. I had to drill this hole. I used a hole saw on the top and the bottom, and then I just connected the straight lines with my cutoff wheel in case I needed to move things around. Let me get this cut real quick and we'll get some steel welded on there, and then that'll check that off the list. Alright, let me get some tools together and we'll get to work. Get a template or get this at least measured and then get this cut out. Should have did this a long time ago. I just got away from it, I guess. You know? A lot of people ask me why I do certain things. Just a regular guy. I tell people all the time I'm not a professional car builder, so if you're wondering why I do things the way I do things, because I don't know any better. That's why. As long as the end result works, right? Let me get this transfer over to this. The reason why I'm flipping it over is because this end's just a little bit narrow. I want to make sure it's the same thickness all the way down. Alright, let's get that cut out and we'll get it welded, and then I'm just going to fold it down with the hammer. I'm going to weld it here first and I'll start tapping it down, weld it as I'm going, and then get it welded there. That should be all set. Put that in the vise and get this cut out real quick, and we'll get it welded on and get the holes drilled. Alright, so I got you're sitting next to the welder, so it might be a little bit loud, but I got this piece all cut down. I got the edges beveled so I can get some good welds on them. I beveled the entire underside of this edge, so when it's on the chassis, I'll be able to weld in here and make sure I get really good penetration. I'll be able to fill that entire void with weld. And then as it's being welded, I'll just tap it down. I was thinking about starting here, but I'm going to run into an issue with the hammer on this end, so I decided to start on the back side towards the firewall, and I'm going to get it welded there, and then I'll have plenty of room in the front to be able to get that hammered down and welded in place. Trying to make sure when I bend it down, it's following the edge of the frame rail. I just want to make sure that it's all straight and in line. It got a little bit crooked as it was welding and it was shrinking this edge. that is all set at this point, except with the exception of a little bit of welding. So what I'm going to do is, I guess I'm going to pop this off real quick and get these holes center punched and drilled out. Once that's all set, I'll work on the column drill. That's good for now. Make sure I got my marks. So now what I gotta do is I gotta get these holes drilled. I got one marked here, 2, and 3. Alright, let's get some holes drilled. Nice working in the shop and not having to turn the heat on. It's that time of year, I guess. Alright, let's get some holes drilled. Alright, so I got the box mounted. So I got this kind of cleaned up real quick. So the steering column's on there. What I need to work on next is the column drop. All I'm gonna do is, it was a 90-degree, like an L bracket with 2 slotted holes in it. I'm just gonna cut that off of the old face of the gas tank. Cut it off, just drop it down and weld it a couple inches below, and then that'll be it. So I think you can kind of see that. See where the bracket was? This is the original bracket from the Willys steering column. So now that it's hard mounted to the side of the frame rail, you can kind of see how far it's going to come down. So I'm just going to cut it off here and then get this metal cleaned up, get this piece cleaned up, and then just drop it down. And I'm going to get the hardware so I can mount it all back onto the steering column. Make sure it's straight. It's like I left the column just a little bit loose, so I can kind of move it over to the side where it's comfortable for the driver, and then get that welded. I'll grab my hardware. Alright, well, that's gonna be kind of it for me for this video. Just a real quick video of just kind of finishing up the steering. Got the steering mount, everything. I just got it tacked in place in case anything needs to change in the future. I ended up having to notch out the transmission tunnel just like 1/4 of an inch. Because of the column, it was in the way of the flange. This flange here. See that little bite I took out of it right there? And now that fits in there just right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lift the body back off, pop the steering wheel off, and get this unbolted again, get the body lifted off, and then moved outside, hopefully within the next couple of days, one day this week, and I'll get the inside of the car painted and underneath, well, primed, flat black, do the chassis too. I have had some interest in the car. There's a particular gentleman who's really interested in the car. There's going to be still a lot of work that needs to be done. The steering's going to need to be finished. The brakes, there's no brake pedal, no master cylinder, no lines. The front, it'll come with modified Model A backing plates that were something that someone built years ago for a hot rod. Those are all sandblasted and epoxy primed. It'll come with those, so you'll be able to put juice brakes on the Model A front axle if you choose to leave the Model A front axle on it. It'll come with the backing plates for the 3940 rear and the brake parts that go with that, including the emergency brake arms, which are getting really hard to find and expensive. It'll come with those. Grease cups for the back, for the rear. I don't really know off the top of my head, but there's a lot of parts that the car is going to come with, and but it's going to be a big project. You know, the fuel system needs to be finished. There's not going to be any wiring, no harness, no gauges, no exhaust. Exhaust is going to need to be done. The drive shaft will need to be built. No glass. What else? Hardware. You know, some of the stuff, if it takes 4 bolts, it might only have 2. You know, so things like that. So you're going to need the hardware. The seats are going to have to be installed. Gas tank's going to need to be installed. It's all ready to go, but it'll need to be mounted with some straps I don't have a nut for the steering column. Everyone looks at the car, and it did come together really quick, about 3 months. January, February, all of March, so 3 months. So the car came together quick, but what people don't realize is this is kind of the easy part. Putting the pieces together is easy. Finishing the car is what really takes the time. You know, who knows, might want to do kingpin bushings, you know, put a new set of bushings in it. I don't know how they are. It's a Model A axle, so it's old. So I don't know that they've been replaced. I have to assume it hasn't been. It'll come with brake pads for the rear. I don't know that I have front drums that will go with the modified backing plate, so you may have to end up getting drums. There's a lot. It's gonna still need a lot, you know. So people look at what I've done and say, man, you've come so far and you're almost done, and you should take it to the finish line. So sorry to everybody who wants me to finish the car and take it for its maiden voyage. I won't be the person that does that. I had no plans on doing that from the start. I had no plans on doing what I've done from the start, but it has kind of snowballed or evolved into what it's become. And I know a lot of people appreciate that, and I appreciate the car for what it is, and I hope you guys do too. In any event, again, this car is coming to a close, so I'm really excited to get it to a point where I can roll it outside and just kind of say goodbye to it, and hopefully that will happen sooner than later. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate all the support. Thanks for all the positive words and the encouragement on this car. I've had a very good response from this car, and that pleases me, so thank you to all those people. To the people who think I'm an idiot and do things wrong and don't do things right or question why I do things, I'm just a regular guy in my backyard just like you guys, building cars because you love this stuff and you want to drive hot rods. So that's all it is. I'm not trained, I'm not educated in this, I'm not as versed as some people in this. I just figure things out as I go. So just regular man's ingenuity. How's it going, everyone? Hope everybody's having a good Saturday so far. It's Friday afternoon, just got home from work, and a package arrived, as you can see. So before I open it, a lot of people have been, not complaining, but a lot of people have been recommending that I do the boxing plates, and I've said it over and over again. I don't want to spend the time and I don't want to spend the money. You guys know me at this point, you know how I am. I don't want to do things wrong. I don't want to make more work for the next guy, and I want to make sure that this car, when it goes to the next owner, the things that I do are right, and I don't want to skip ahead on certain steps. And if I were to go ahead and paint this frame, I would be certainly skipping ahead. So I figured if I can find a set of boxing plates that were inexpensive, that made sense for me to buy, then I would buy them, and that's what these are. So this is a set of boxing plates, 1/8" boxing plates. These are the plates that have the tabs, so it's like the easy mount boxing plates. So the boxing plates were $145 with free shipping. So, you know, for that price, it would be foolish of me not to buy them. So I'll show you guys what you get. Oh, my butt's vibrating. Must be Miss Allison. Nope. Mr. Flavin! Alright, so where do we leave off? I was saying that I repeated myself multiple times during the process of building this car. What I should have done a long time ago was box the frame, and I didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to box the frame. So that's going to be an upcoming video. It's been another week. The car is still sitting in the garage. Not super excited about that, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. So I ordered these just, I think on Sunday while I was out here working in the garage, and my boxing plate showed up. So these are the front frame horn. Well, not the frame horn, but these are on the front of the frame here, where the motor mount is. Then we've got the front frame horns. They cut them really long, so that's good. So it gives you some extra room to work with. Look at the main portion of the frame here that goes from, you know, about where the front of the cowl is to the back underneath in the back of the car. And then you got the very far rear portion of the frame rail that these will go to. And this is essentially where your kick up is. So I do have enough left over from my other set that I bought however long ago that I will use to plate the kick up on the rear. So that's going to be the next video. I don't know that it'll be out next Wednesday. We'll see what my work schedule looks like. I am taking off tomorrow and Sunday. So today's Friday, but tomorrow will be Saturday when you'll be watching this video. I will be in New Hampshire on a pick. So I'll be out picking for the day today. As you guys are watching this, I'm already on the road on my way to my buddy Pete's place, and we're taking off to go to an early Ford collector's house or garage to do some digging and picking. And so I don't know how much time this weekend I'm going to have. And then Sunday is Tie Rod's, the first big swap meet of the year. That's going to be at Stafford Springs, so that's tomorrow, April 2nd. And we're going to be heading down there, going to just be walking around. I don't know that Allie will be with me. I'll probably be flying solo on that one. But I'm just going to be going down looking for some parts for my next flip car, which is a 23 to 25 Model T Roadster, and also the 32 Roadster. So that'll be it. So we'll see if I can get a video started or up and going, or at least get these things tacked in place. The next step for this car is the steering column and everything have to come back off. The body's going to get popped off. Hopefully I'll have maybe a little bit of time this weekend to get the underside of the body and inside the body sprayed this weekend. We'll see. But for the time being, even if that doesn't happen, now I have something else to keep me busy. I may end up modifying the transmission cross member and shortening the arms where it bolts through the side of the frame rails, so I can do a full boxing plate down the inside of the frame rail. I'll just shorten that and narrow it so it fits the inside of the boxing plates, and that'll be it. Should be pretty simple. Yeah, so still working on the sedan, still kind of evolving as we go. As you guys know, this has kind of been an ongoing thing. I didn't plan on working on this car this long. I know you guys, a lot of people dig the build, so that's really cool. So thank you for that. And we'll be getting this thing out of here hopefully pretty soon, within the next 2 weeks. I keep saying that, but that's just the way it goes. Thanks everybody for following along. I really appreciate it. So another just real quick episode on the 31 sedan. And hopefully this thing will be leaving the garage pretty soon. Thanks everyone. Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.